Pastor V, and to Elder Foster. Happy birthday to you. It is good to be in the house. You know, a lot of people say, well, they ain't doing miracles like back in Jesus' day, laying hands on the sick and raising the dead. Well, you go and tell that story about Elder Foster and say, it's the same God is still doing the same thing. He's still doing the same thing. He's still using people to bring people back. So you can let them know that I look like I know a man. I know a man who is still doing it, and so he used his vessel to rekindle life back into a daughter, because he said it ain't over. There's still some life to be lived. There's still some work to be done, and so. Happy birthday to you, Elder Foster. That couldn't be any better birthday present, I know. So this morning, I'm going to do something I have never done in over 30 years of preaching. I'm going to preach about my wife today. In honor of her birthday. You said you never preached it. No, I've never. Usually on her birthday, we bring somebody in, or even on Mother's Day, I don't get the opportunity to do it. But today, I'm a little giddy inside about this because I don't, she's asked me, how's it going to be? I told her, I don't know. We all got to wait and see what's going to happen. Because she said Bishop's message, but I hope Spirit gonna kick in here some way and help me out a little bit. But it is truly my honor to do this today, and I'm going to be talking about my wife, my bestie, but I'm going to teach it in a way that, sorry guys, this is really going to be about the women today, but you are going to be able to, as I walk through parts of her life, you are going to be able to look at your life and say, I did that dang thing, didn't I? And so I want every woman to walk out of here empowered today, patting yourself on the back, as I pat my wife on the back. Because sometimes when you're in the heat of the battle, you can't see the results of the battle. And after the battle is won, lost, tie, or draw, you tend to keep moving because you're preparing for the next battle. So you really don't get a chance to celebrate the victory. And so I'm going to kind of preach to my wife today. And like I said, women, you are going to, when you hear me walking through parts of her life, insert your life in there. And I want you to know, just like I am going to praise my wife, that you can praise yourself in the same, because there's a lot of stuff you missed out on, but I'm going to help you today. And so we're going to go to Proverbs 31 and verse 31. Most people, when we talk about the Proverb 31 woman, or the virtuous woman, they read verses from 10 to 31. But I'm a seminary trained preacher. 10 scriptures should be your max. So I'm going to read one scripture. Right? Okay. Proverbs 31:31. I'm going to read from the King James Version and the New Living Translation. Give her her fruit, give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. The New Living Translation says, reward her for all she has done. Let her deeds publicly declare her praise. So my empowering thought today is simply the Proverbs 31 women. The Proverbs 31 women. So this particular poem, penned by a son, is about a conversation a mother had with her son. Most of the conversation deals with the guidance of what to look for when choosing a good wife, but it starts out with dealing with his character, which was not representative of those of a king. Lemuel is the king that is being talked about in this particular poem, and his name means devoted or moving towards God. Lemuel is another name for Solomon. And when you translate it out of the Hebrew, Lemu, which means towards, El means God, move towards God. Lemuel, move towards God. So the one belonging to God, which is Samuel, King Samuel himself, his mother was Bathsheba. That's important in this as we read this Proverbs 31. His mother was Bathsheba. I can't go through the history of Bathsheba today, but remember Bathsheba. That's his mother. And so most likely Lemuel is her nickname or private name for him. You know, when babes say, Ryan, only one person knows what that means. And so that's how she talks to him. And if anybody else do it, you're not going to get the same reaction that a mother will get from her son. Are y'all following me? So that was considered their little name thing. And so when leading lady says, Ryan, we know we're in a joking moment, right? She playing with him. Come on, right? But when she said Ryan, different story. Come on, somebody. And most of us who have children, we even for my son, I say, hey, Paul. Now, if I say little Paul, I'm distinguishing you're not an adult in this moment, so there's a problem. Come on, somebody. All right. So you understand what I'm saying. So this particular mother is having a conversation with her son. Bathsheba is talking to Solomon. Now, most theologians, the world, have considered this particular poem, Proverbs 31, talking about what it is to have the perfect wife. Am I right? That's what most of us has been taught. And so whenever this is taught, they tell the women, see, you ought to be reading Proverbs 31. Am I right? Can I get a witness, ladies in the house? Come on. All right. I'm going to mess your theology up just for a second before I get to the good stuff, okay? So this particular proverb wasn't even written to women. It wasn't. It was a mother's rebuke to a man, her son, because of his character and his decisions. So she was telling him, man, I can't even cuss today because I'm celebrating my wife's birthday. But she was telling him that you are jacked up. See, we think this is a proverb of praise, but this is not a proverb of praise. This is a proverb of rebuke to a man has nothing to do with the woman, to a man who is a king, and his character does not represent that of a king belonging to God. Are y'all still with me? And so this mother was trying to help him in what to look for when he's trying to look for a woman to help him build his kingdom. Now, why would she have to tell him that? Because even though he was the wisest man in the world, he had zero common sense. Come on, somebody. Zero. And the proof is, and why she has to deal with him in this way, is because he has over 700 wives and 300 concubines, and none of them are a queen. Are y'all following me? So she has had her fill with him. Her namesake. Oh, come on, somebody. The child of her youth. Oh. And so she says that I got to talk to you about some things, because even though you was wise, you were stupid. Your decision making is horrible. I don't know what in the world is going on you. So when you look at this Proverbs, she deals with different areas of his character. The over 1,000 women, his alcoholism, and then his lack of the ability to pick a queen. He's at 1,000 and counting. So it is not about a perfect wife so much. It is about teaching him to honor himself first and then honor women, period. See, that was his missing. He had over 1,000 women he never honored. So therefore, he was picking girls just to pick them. She looked good. I'm going to marry her, because that's the only way he could sleep with her. Let me get back to the story. And so it is not about the perfect wife. It is about honoring women, period. To recognize the hard-working women who, at least at this point, had not been truly given any recognition for what they brought to the table. And so she says, I'm going to take a moment and help you. So why is this poem, because it was a poem of a discussion, so important that he had to pen to it? Why is it important? So let me give you the backstory of what was really happening. They had just built the temple of God. The day of dedication is the next day. He being, almost cuss. God, the Spirit trying to get me. He being the bad man he is, because he's the king, he has the keys. But he has some thorns or some demons in his flesh. One, womanizing. Two, alcoholism. So he has to deal with those. And so what happened, this newly built temple, all the people are getting ready for the day of dedication. Solomon, in his own stupidity, not wisdom, does what he always do. He go and get into a drunken stupor. He goes drunk, goes in his favorite little place that nobody knows, and everybody is looking for him because he got the doggone keys. Are y'all following me? And so he is the one with the keys. The temple of the dedication is happening. people need to get in and make the final preparations, but he can't be found. Are y'all still with me? So his mother says, what is going on? His armor bearer said, well, ma'am, we can't find him. We don't know where he at. Because a mother is a mother. She said, oh, I know exactly where he at. Come on. Goes to his favorite little drunken stupor place, and there he is laid out. She wakes him up. Come on, get yourself together. Get the man the keys. She tell the armor bearer, help me get him back to the room. Now we got to go the back way because we can't let the people see the king this way. Come on, somebody. And then that's a mother-in-law. Can't let them see him this way. So we got to go the back way. The armor bearer helps him back. She said, now you take the keys and you tell them what to do because the king told you what to do. And he goes on to get the temple ready for the dedication. In the meantime, a mother who was done with her son says, this is my last opportunity because this was almost the thing to make you lose your kingdom. The 1,000 wives, people forgave you for that. All of the other stuff, they didn't care because you the great wise man. But this, you messing with God's stuff now. And you was about to lose your kingdom. Let me talk to you. And while she's sobering him up, this is the poem that he calls a poem, but this was her rebuke to him. Are y'all still with me? And so she said, this failure almost cost you your kingdom. She knew because he was so wise, he was brash, a little arrogant, because he believed nobody could pull nothing over him. All 1,000 women did, because they're not interested in the kingdom. They just want what you got. Come on. So he wasn't so wise. And when he asked for wisdom, what wisdom did he ask for? To rule God's people. He didn't ask for wisdom for life. Oh, come on, somebody. And so the wisdom for life that he lacked is tearing him apart. Because the wisdom for God's people, he can do that, but he could not control his own life. Are y'all still with me? And so now the text opens up with Bathsheba, his mother, reminding him that she gave birth to him, the son of my bowels. And I was particular that she said that because anyone of his wives and concubine would be his children, but she's letting him know, no, I gave birth to you. You are the one that I gave birth to. And then she reminds him that he carries not only my vows, but the promises and commitment I made to God. If he gave me you. So it was very common for women when they were barren to ask God for a man-child, and once that man-child come, there were promises they make to God concerning that child to give him back, or whatever the case may be, so that they are grateful for God giving them a man-child. And here this fool is fumbling this gift that I was given. Are y'all still with me? And so she traces his close connection back from the gestation in her womb to her vows before pregnancy. Oh God, if you give me a man child. And then she talks about it and said, I'll dedicate him back to you if you give him to me. 1 Samuel 1:11. So now everything is going on, and she deals with his demons. First, she deals with this pure, unadulterated, untamable sexual desire he has. Noting to him that his high sexual desires has brought down kingdoms and reminded him about his father, David, and his way. He did the same thing. Somebody said generation curses. See, David's high sexual desire saw Bathsheba on the rooftop because she wasn't his wife at the time. And she saw him on the rooftop and said, I got to have her. And he takes this man's wife, send the man to war. The more the man comes back, he said, go sleep with your wife. Bring him home, go sleep with your wife. And he would not sleep with the wife because he knew he had impregnated her, David. And then he says, well, that ain't going to work. I'm going to send him back to war, put him on the front line, and I want everybody to back off. So David now murders the man because the man won't sleep with his wife to father his child. Remember, I said, remember Bathsheba? And she remembers the story. Why? Because here's her son following in his. Come on, somebody. Tell somebody some stuff in the DNA. And so now she's there and she said, look, you got to bring this thing under control because it almost cost your daddy his kingdom. Matter of fact, it cost your daddy because that's why your daddy could not build the temple you built because of this transgression. Not only that, it cost me my firstborn son. And since that son died, my womb had been closed. And God finally blessed me with you and your doggone stupid DNA doing the same thing. Are y'all still with me? Then she says, you are not like that. You should not be this way. You are the king. So she moves on to address his alcoholism. How the consequences from his getting drunk will cause him to forget the law, lose his wisdom and his ability to judge righteously. She tells him, unlike other people, you have no reason to drink in excess. Are y'all still with me? In other words, she's saying, that's not you. Why are you getting this drunk? What's on your mind? What is happening in your life that you got to get so drunk that nobody can help you, don't even know where you are? The 1,000 wives and concubine is not taking care of the job. And so she goes on to say, in other words, she is saying, that's not you. So then she says, let me deal with you about these 1,000 women running around this kingdom, this palace, because this is really my house. Come on, somebody. Because there ain't none of them your queen. So let me talk to you about this mess you have made because you don't know what to look for. And she says, a woman of noble character or virtuous, who can find her? In other words, she was telling him, you never seek. You never put any thought. You never seek. You never put action into what you were looking for. You never once told one of these 1,000 people, I'm looking for somebody to help me build a kingdom. You just wanted to sleep with them. And they were fine with that as long as you give them a little gold trinket and marry them. And they say, girl, I'm married to the king. Here's the good part. Depending on the translation you read, that's when they said a virtuous woman woman of noble character, excellent. Now here, we always tell the women, this is about you, and this is what you should be looking for, right? But as theologians, all of these terms fail to capture the element of strength that she was trying to really say that was in the woman he should be looking for. So in Proverbs 31:3, he applies the term translated strength because he's talking about him. But all the rest of the Proverbs, theologians diminish the talk because they didn't want to give women strength. So when you read it, it's really talking about a woman of strength. So this woman that the mother talked about had most of these qualities or characteristics before she got married. See, this is where we get it wrong. Say, girl, if you're going to marry him, this is what you got to be. No, she developed that character when nobody considered her. Are y'all following me? She developed these abilities why people could care less. You was insignificant in people's lives. They didn't care. They didn't care what you do. They didn't see nothing in you. All they wanted is what they wanted, and you was going to be the back I step on to get it. Now, whenever I get wrong, you can tell me. And so, in this story, you will notice there were times of lack or having minimum resources. Then there's times of plenty or abundance, but it was never about her. It was always about building a kingdom. And this is why she rebuked him. It was never about the women. It was about somebody, the helpmeet, according to scripture, to help you build a kingdom. He never got that. You should stop and look because she is worth more than whatever the world tells you is most valuable. You should stop and look, which means to evaluate her life. Because when you find her, she is more than the most valuable thing on the earth. Are y'all still with me? And so the Proverbs goes on to say, so son, do you know where to find such a woman, a strong woman, a noble woman, a real queen? It was a rhetorical question because he failed 1,000 times. And so she says, let me help you. If you look, quit looking through your natural eyes and open your spiritual eyes. Look, you will find her. And now she goes into the abilities or the characteristics of this particular woman. A heart of a husband trusting her with secure confidence. He will have no lack of gain, which means the husband understands her strength and allow her to be herself, not struggling with his ego about being the head of the household. He recognized her ability to thrive when she needs to thrive. There's no bumpings of head. He understands, oh, she's good at that. Have at it. I don't know about that. Go ahead. I'm not offended when she said, let me take it, Paul. Go ahead, Rahul. Go ahead. Why? is that important? Because it goes on to say that the next verse talks about her husband's heart is trust in her with confidence. And she says, she comforts and encourages and does him only good and not evil all the days of her life. That's why I go right on ahead and do it, babes. Yeah, you good. Yeah. Why? Because I know she's trying to hurt herself. So why would I take the spirit of her strength away from her and do something I may have no clue, but she already have the strength to do it? Go right on. Well, what if it don't work? Well, we'll fail together. You understand? This is what a virtuous woman that they're talking about. She looks for wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is not idle. She was always looking for a way to add for. Listen to what this text is saying. This is what his mother's saying. Look at her. She's not idle. She ain't gossiping about all this stuff. You don't find her, girl, I'm with the girls there, but she is about her business. She's trying to figure out a way. In the words of Pastor V, while you are sleeping, I am thinking. So that's why I'm always 2 steps ahead of you. Because when you go to sleep, you go to sleep to go to sleep. I go to sleep to think. She is like the merchant ships abounding with treasure. She brings her household food from afar. This pastor, this best friend of mine, bartered the goods she had to bring in what she needed. She knows she has something she can use, whether it be fixing hair or baking cakes or babysitting or even changing up the food stamp. I got you this month if you take me. Oh, come on, somebody. Doing whatever it takes. I'm sure she didn't feel like at times they were adding up or something wasn't moving. All she was doing is trying to survive. All she was doing is trying to get to the next day. But let me tell somebody little bit by little bit. See, all of that life stuff you thought was wrong. All of the struggles. I made the wrong decision. You made the best decision you could with the information you had. You was in survival mode. I had to do what I had to do, and this was my only option. So all of that stuff, you sit down and say, oh, I wish I could have, should have. Spirit was telling you I did it the right way, baby. I was doing you. I had you right there in the right time to make that decision, because 40 years from now, you're going to look back and see that power of the strength of making that decision is going to put you someplace where nobody else could be. She rises up also while it is night and give food to her household and assign tasks to her maids. Do you know there was a 15-year-old girl that would rise up at 4 o'clock in the morning to walk the streets of Norfolk to go to a McDonald's and work and make the biscuits in the morning, work for 2 hours, get off, walk back home while it's still dark, get her daughter up, prepare her, take her to the babysitter, drop her off at the babysitter, then go to school, stay in school all day, get out of school, go back to McDonald's and finish her shift, get off the shift, then go back and get her daughter and walk her back home. See, most of us wouldn't see that. I would not be interested in her in that way, because I say she kind of ghetto. Are y'all following me? And in her heart, while she's walking out there, she's questioning, why is this happening? Why nobody giving me a ride and we got cars sitting right in the driveway? Why is nobody taking care of me? I'm just trying to provide for my daughter. Are y'all still with me? Even in school, the teacher's questioning, why are you late? Because my day started 5 hours ago. I had to take my daughter. I had to go to work, then take my daughter. And so there was some grace fitted in there because the teachers begin to understand and give her some room. Tell somebody the grace will make room. His grace is sufficient. Tell me. His grace is sufficient. See, even though you don't know what it is, but his grace is sufficient. The text goes on to say she considers the field before she buys it and expands her business prudently. With her profit, she plants fruitful vines in her vineyard. How is it possible without the adequate support that a 20-year-old young lady develops in her mind? I'm going to go buy my first house. And I'm going to do all of this. She didn't go and ask nobody, what do you think? She went and did it. Bought her first house, didn't have any furniture, but bought her first house so that she can provide for her daughter and children. See how the qualities are building. And most guys, we don't look for that because I don't have time for that. I'm trying to get here, but I overlook this one, the humble beginnings, because I want this, but not understanding that the spirit has to mature it. Are you still with me? She equips herself with strength, spiritually, mentally, physical fitness for her God-given task. She makes her arms strong. She doesn't even know how she did it. She just said it before I got up here. I don't know how I did it because she don't understand or did not understand that that's the purpose of the Holy Spirit. See, the Holy Spirit is the empowering something in you that when you don't know, it does know, and it pushes you to do what you cannot do. And so every time spirit had to come full force and take full drive in her life, and she was on autopilot, allowing spirit to use her. And even in her mind, she's thinking, these can't be the best decision I'm making. Spirit is saying, do it, girl, do it. Do it, girl, do it. We doing it because you're going someplace. You're building something that later on down the line, you're going to be able to help somebody for real. How many conversations that this little young girl sat and listened to grown adults talk, and in her mind, she's saying, that's not going to work. But she watched these grown adults do the stupidity anyway. Oh my God. Because spirit, and when you want to know, is spirit talking to me? Yes, he is. He's always been guiding you. He's always been protecting you. He's always been doing what you do. You did not know. She did not clamor. She was just about her children, taking them to school, having to sit in class practically for a whole school year, right? Whole school year, because Ryan wanted to do his own way. Come on, somebody. How many? And so by that, we don't even understand the fullness of that. And maybe she will see it right now, is that while she was sitting in class with Ryan, Eric was sitting next to her in the same grade, but Eric wasn't in the grade. And so whatever Ryan was learning, Eric was learning. And sooner or later, when Eric go to school, they would push him up 2 grades. Now, to her, it'll seem like this don't make no sense. I want to whip Ryan's little tail, and he need to act right because this should drive me nuts. But you don't know how spirit was working that thing. Oh, come on, somebody. Not only that, she was working 2, 3. You know, we always used to laugh and talk about them Jamaicans having 3, 4 jobs. She would work 2, 3, 4 jobs to make ends meet. She would leave in the morning and come back late, 11 to 12 o'clock at night, coming home just so she can provide, not being able to be with her children, coming home and seeing Jennifer has put little stickies with things she wanted to say to her, but because she was out there trying to live a life to provide, she did not have the time to give to Jennifer. So Jennifer put the little stickies on the pillow. Most of us would say, well, she's doing too much. Matter of fact, people say she's doing too much. She ain't going to be about nothing. She leaving them kids, they're going to be out of control. Oh, can you look at the fruit of your labor? Can you see it? That wasn't good enough for her. She decides in the midst of 2, 3 jobs, I'm going to go back to school because this isn't good enough. There is a better life that I should have for my kid. She didn't know back then she had the same fight she has now. There's more to this. This or something better was already stirring on her spirit before she knew it existed. She goes back to school, gets her degree, because she said, this is not enough. They deserve the best. Oh my God. Even now, I'm sure then, because her thinking is still the same, she was always thinking about the future. What could happen? What could be? And if I could use her favorite words I hear her say once in a while, she would look at her children and say, trouble won't last always. And so she had a determination that we gonna get here and we're gonna leave this place, the slums of Portsmouth, and we're gonna get to this place that God has put into my heart. Despite everybody else trying to use her for what she had, despite the conversations, well, what are you going back to school for? What are you going to do with that degree? Despite that, she didn't allow it to affect her mentally. She still pushed on. Spirit still gave her a peace. You're doing the right thing. You're just doing too much. Look at you. You're looking tired. Well, that's what happens when you work. You look rested because you don't care about your life. But I care about my life and what I'm providing for my kids. So I don't mind being tired right now, because there's a day coming when I'm going to rest. I'm going to be able to sit back, as the Ecclesiastical writer says. Sometimes you need to sit back and look at the labors of your hand and lay back with a cup of wine and say, damn, this is good. And so today I honor her because I wanted to say, damn, this is good. Look at my kids. All of them are doing their thing, their own thing. Dang, I'm good. All the time I wasn't there with them, they weren't out trying to kill nobody, trying to rob nobody, trying to steal from nobody. They were home doing what I asked them to do. Well, most of the time. This goes on to say her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders. Why is he known? Because I was retiring from the Navy, didn't really know what I was going to do. He was considering going back to Charleston. And this beautiful lady says, you need to go to school. So I said, okay, go to school. And in the process of going to school, she said, you need to apply for seminary. You already got your associates. You almost finished your bachelor's. Go and apply for seminary and get your degree. Now, I wasn't really thinking that. I know I was a preacher, and I know I said, well, maybe pastoring will be in my future. I know I'm a pastor, but I didn't really know how I was going to get there. And so in her ingenuity, she submitted the application for me. And all I got was the letter, you in. I said, I'm in what? I'm now going up to Virginia Union. This is not any school. She had to pick the best school that known around the world for the seminary, the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology. Not just any school. She had to pick the number one school in the world that accept me. I said, well, I got to step up my game a little bit. I can't be seeing this one out. I got to step up my level. And I now, and because of her love for me, I remember that first day of driving up to Richmond, a drive that should take 45 minutes, maybe. That took 3 hours. See, I didn't say, the devil trying to keep us from going there. I just said, oh, babes, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. 3 hours. I'm going through, unlike some other college, this is a HBCU, where they kind of tag you somebody, and this person going to go with you and carry you through and walk you through so you'll know what you're going. I got none of that. Figure this thing out on your own. And I remember after doing everything, I'm thinking, once we sign in and get in, I'm going to go back in this car and we're going to go lay down at the hotel. I had to come tell her my class is starting. So you can go to the hotel and come back and get me. I'm sitting there saying to myself, I don't know if I really can do this. And she said, no. You go ahead, I'm going to wait. Did she have to do it? Why? Because she said, my husband's going to be talked about in the gates. Because I can see, he sees it in him. He don't know how to get it out. It is my job to be his helpmeet and get what's in him out so that this world can be blessed. Are y'all still with me? Strength and dignity are her clothing, the scripture says. She has done her self-work, confident in her authenticity, smiles at the great future ahead. Why? Because she is ready. She is strong. She is more than capable for what lies ahead. The scripture in verse 26 says, she opens her mouth in skillful and godly woman, godly wisdom. She preaches, she teaches, she coaches with such wisdom that people, I remember Deaconess Foster said, she's the only one can slap us and kiss us up at the same time. Why? Because she knows how she had to get to where she is, and she see in you what was in her, and all she wants you to do is be all that God wants you to be. She looks well into how things in her household go. Her hands are never idle. Her children rises up and call her blessed, happy, prosperous, to be admired. And that's why they're here today. because they came to bless their mother. They want to affirm with her. She did the dang thing. And verse 29 says, and her husband also will praise her, saying, I proclaim that Vernisa, Pastor V, leading lady, coach mom, grandma, my best friend, you are the Proverbs 31 woman. God bless you.
Whew, my God. My God. That's why we serve an amazing God. Who knows the plan? Who knows the path that he got for you? And how you